Okay. Wow, great to see everybody here. Greetings from Govardhana. Let me shut off this heater. It's going to be a little bit of a different class. Yeah, we started our retreat, and I think it's quite an amazing thing because I think what's really amazing about it is that, there was no COVID. There was no there was no COVID in India. And then about 3 weeks ago, the Omicron, and then the government kind of freaked out and made all these rules that you have to get a test. And when you get here, you have to get a test, and you may wait 4 hours, or you pay like a couple of thousand rupees, and maybe you pay an hour. And if you test positive, then you are forced to isolate in a hotel, and maybe it costs 40,000 rupees. It's ridiculous. And then there was a self-isolation policy, which didn't work for me because we had 2 days in Vrindavan and then Govardhana. But somehow or other, I don't know, I was waiting for someone to complain or ask questions, and no one did. And I had to think what to do. Can I cancel it? People already bought tickets. People don't seem to be mental about it. And, I had to make a decision and kind of figure it all out. And I calculated everything is risk benefit. I thought the benefit was greater than the risk. And somehow or other, the Omicron went down. And, the people that came, they didn't check anybody at the airport, except one person came from England because India still hasn't forgiven the British. But, they didn't check anyone. And, there's nothing with the self-isolation, and things are pretty normal here. And Krishna really blessed. Greg and Jack left right in the middle of the snowstorm. At the peak of that snowstorm, there were only 4 flights flying from Newark, and one was theirs. And I told the devotees one story, and I really see it's true, is that one time I went to see a saint in Mathura. And at that time in India, it was much different. We never took a taxi. There was no money. There was no congregation. We always took public transportation. Riding in a taxi was unheard of. So there's these cars, you may have seen them, they're called tempos. It's a German car that was imported to India in 1939. And in almost 82 years, they haven't changed the model. It's really fun to see it. And people pour into this. And that's the way we went from Vrindavan to Mathura. And it was the winter, and it was raining, and we were hanging out the back. And we went to Mathura. The person wasn't there. The person wasn't there. And they said he went to Vrindavan. He opened a new temple. And then we went all the way there. And when we saw the sadhu, and he heard what happened, he said, because you've undergone such difficulty, we'll have to give you something. And somehow or other, we have 20 people that came to the retreat. And it's nice to do bold things and take risks for Krishna, but I was a little intelligent. And, I can see the reciprocation. The group immediately entered in the highest absorption without any mental plane at all from the beginning that they came. And it's only today we went half around Govardhana. We chanted kirtan the whole way. And There's one young man, he's only 20 years old. He's already married. He lives in Govardhana. He's friends with Vikram and some of the devotees. And he's a Radharaman Goswami family. And he's studying for his PhD in music. And he's coming and doing kirtan. And I have arguably, according to Kinshana Krishna, one of the top 5 Mridanga players in the world, Partha, who used to come to my Puri retreat. So it's really been, I'm giving the excuse why I'm not prepared for class. And then we went around Govardhana, we chanted the whole way around, and everyone participated the whole way around in doing kirtan. I got the sun in my head. But I can see that Krishna, reciprocates with that type of, it's got to be intelligent and thoughtful, but I think it was close. I don't think you can blame anybody who canceled. I don't think you can blame anybody who came, but the people all came. And Karuna Purna, the first time in India, she is doing fantastic. She's just absorbed. And it's nice too, because the first apartment in my ashram is finished and it's beautiful. And Joe Cayley and his family are staying there. And the guest house next door to my place, it's beautiful lobby. We have this like temple there, and people stay. The rooms are clean, plenty of hot water. I bought heaters for they don't have heaters. I bought heaters for all the room, and we're taking prasad. It's very easy at the temple. The prasad is fantastic. Devotees like it. I gave them their MVT experience, but they're sitting and taking the prasad in the Govardhana ISKCON place. And, it's 3 sabjis, rice, dal, and chapatis, and some sweet. They're cooking and it's wonderful to see their mood of service. There's no spice, hot spice in it at all, very little. So they're cooking for us. And right now, what's happening is I make theme songs for the retreat, and this Radharaman song. I mean, this is like unparalleled, the way this guy can sing. And with Bob, and he's such a humble guy, and he's singing this song with this Radharaman and giving your life to Radharaman. And we have the song sheets and we're singing it and absorbed. And we have great kirtanias. We have a Kinshana here, Sundar Govinda from Russia, I go often to his place in Russia. His wife is my disciple. His grandfather was great-grandfather was the head of the Bolshoi ballet, so he has this samskar, very nice Vaishnava. So now there'll be some kind of kirtans. And my program, I told them there's different types of retreats. Some retreats are educational. Mine is experiential. And I told them that the way my retreat works and the way my class works is based on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, but not just his teachings, his life, because he was Acharya Leela. He was Acharya Leela. And Acharya Leela means he was showing us. And what was he showing us? He was showing us how to become a devotee, because that's why God came, how to be a devotee. And he showed us how to practice that bhajan. And the way it works is basically this, and this is my own analysis of how we get our eternal relationship with Krishna, that we have to practice, and practice means concentration, and practice has 4 things: concentration over a period of time, without interruption, and in the right mood. So there's realization when there's absorption. And that's why these retreats are so powerful, because they're just absorbed effortlessly all day in chanting and hearing. I mean, in the morning, I have a japa period at 6:30. Everyone's there. I don't even give directions. Everyone, and then we take a little break. And then I give class from 7:15 to 8:45, and then we take breakfast. We take breakfast, and then at 10 o'clock, we went around Govardhana. It took us 4 hours. We stopped in some places, got back, took lunch, took 2-hour rest, and then the program. So I'm a little spaced out, therefore. So what Lord Chaitanya, what he showed us is with this absorption and concentration in the holy name, there's something that happens. And I like analogies, and I created my own analogy. That practice is like, if you have a piece of fire and you have a magnifying glass and you want it to alight, you just can't flick it there. You have to keep it there, and it has to focus. And then there's some result. So that result comes when there's actually focus. There's actually focus. Focus on the holy name. Tara Madhye, Sarva Shreshte, Nama Sankirtan, Nira Aparada Poya, Paya, Premadan. There are 9 main practices of devotional service, and the best is chanting the holy name, because if it's done without offense, then one could easily get love of God. And Nira Aparade Poya, Paya, Premadan. So it's that absorption in the holy name that Lord Chaitanya taught us. And to facilitate that, and the connection is sambandha. The connection with a name is relationship. And it can invoke an emotion. For the Democrats listening, I can say Donald T. Trump. For the Republicans listening, I can say Hillary Rodham Clinton. According to your relationship with the name, you invokes a certain emotion. And if you love someone, you become absorbed in that name. And then, and not only that, when you become absorbed in the name, which is not just a prop, but it's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when you become absorbed in the name, then what happens is the name reciprocates and facilitates that absorption. So how do you get the sambandha? Well, you have to hear the stories of the person whose name you're chanting. And Ramananda Roy did that with Lord Chaitanya. So did Gadadhar Pandit. And then you have to hear the songs of the person whose name you're chanting, because the songs and the stories, they're rasika. They're emotion of love, of bhakti rasa embodied, that if approached in the right way, give that feeling, which you can add to your chanting. And that's the way traditional chanting kirtan was done. First, there was a bhajan. And then, with the mood, then you would become connected to the name. So that's what we do. I in the morning, I do one. We have 2 theme songs. I do a bhajan in the morning, and I do a bhajan in the morning, and then I'm doing the Krishna book, and it is so relevant to us. We're relishing it. I'm doing Venu Geet. Krishna is going into the forest, and the lakes are crystal clear with blooming lotuses that are so fragrant, that are attracting the bees. And the trees and the plants, everybody's so jubilant as Krishna blows his flute. And the extraordinary sound enters into the hearts of the gopis, who become overwhelmed with love and begin to remember Krishna's pastimes and feeling his love, because music and sound, the main purpose of music and sound is to convey emotion. So it carries your conviction. So the flute carries Krishna's love. And if anyone hears it, one hears Krishna's love for them. And they become overwhelmed and they begin to talk among themselves how Krishna is exquisitely beautiful. How is he so beautiful? They can't even comprehend it because it is a purvata. A purvata is a rasika term that means never before seen. So never before seen, never before seen, never before seen. Every time. And Krishna is so beautiful, and he has his peacock feather, and he's his golden cloth and Balaram's blue cloth, and Krishna's holding in his hands peacock feathers, mango twigs, and flowers. But he also has rope over his shoulder to tie the calf, just like ordinary cowherd boys. And the gopis just go mad with that devotion. And how can they not? If this is God's love and this is God's energy and it invokes emotion in your heart, and if you become overwhelmed in emotion, you don't act on the platform of intelligence. That's a principle. So we don't see the gopis staying on the platform of intelligence. They start becoming envious of the flute, which is nothing but a bamboo rod. But somehow or other, it has the nectar of Krishna's kisses, which belong to the gopis. And then the rivers are the mothers of the trees. So when the rivers and the lakes, when they see the flute, which is their child, it's natural that they become so jubilant and proud as Krishna enters into the forest. And it's so reasonable conception of God. I always tell the story when I went to the university, and the definition of God was that being of which no greater can be conceived. And then I got a Krishna book, and I said, I can't conceive anything greater than this, because it's God which is pervading everything. God is pervading everything. He's omniscient. He's omnipotent. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Maya tatam idam, everything. But as Prabhupada said, he doesn't have the defect of impersonality. He doesn't have the defect of impersonality. Form does not limit God. Rather, if God did not have form, he would be limited. Because God has form and is also pervading everything. If you say God has no form, then you're saying God is pervading everything, but you're limiting him. So that's actually and as they're going through the forest with Krishna, the cowherd boy, the cowherd boys are sweetly singing among themselves. So it's quite, anyway, I'm reading that and we're mixing it with the kirtan. So what I'm going to do now for today is it's quite intense. It's all day long, chanting and hearing, and going around Govardhana for 4 hours. And I move. When we move, we stop sometimes. When I move, and the sun on my head. And then we get back and eat prasadam, and then you crash out, and then you try to get your consciousness back. But it's really been, because, my nature is, when I do a festival, I'm in the mind of every person. So we did everything we possibly could to make people as comfortable as possible. We have these big, huge thermoses with hot water and tea. There's a little bit the winter, which is in our little guest house. And rooms are really nice. People are satisfied. They're satisfied with the prasadam. And tomorrow, we've been in actually Vrindavan for a few days. It went nice. And now we'll be here for 4 or 5 more days. and then we'll go back to Vrindavan. And then Vikram, who's done a wonderful job making this ashram and having like a competent, really competent Indian person to just do so many things. He's going to take Joe Kaylee Krunapurna and Kaylee Kadamba to Jaipur. And they're going to enjoy. So what I'll do is you can share your reflections, any questions, and then if anyone wants to come next door, I'll put the computer away that you could hear the kirtan. It'll go off for a while, so you'll have to stay on because only for a few minutes, because it's a different, I think I have it on my phone. It's a different, okay, they gave me a password for the next place. 1 second, Kastuba just called. Okay, I'm back. I needed to say that. Jumanajaya, some reflection, and then we can go for kirtan.
Prabhu Maharaj, thanks you for bringing us along with your beautiful description on, Facebook or whatever. You get like 10 years ago, you were a picture, and just the other day I got a picture of 8 years ago when I was with you for my first trip to India on Prikram. I saw all the pictures. It was so nice. But I was really just...
People are putting pictures of the Prikram?
No, this was a picture that I got, like they send reminders of where you were 8 years ago. So I got one.
Okay. All right.
But I love the reflection of how the river was proud of the reeds. Like, there's our children being the flute for Krishna. That's such a sweet, it's so proud, and that they're not envious.
Said it's very natural if one's descendants do well to be joyful. And in the class, I looked at Joe Kaylee and I said, how do you feel that your daughter's here completely absorbed in chanting?
Yeah.
And the joy on his face, it was really intense.
So wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for taking us along.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello before we?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Namasaki here.
When are you coming?
Haribo, thank you for taking us with you.
By next year, I guess. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here.
Okay.
Wish I was there. Oh,
next year. Okay, anybody else like to share? Haribo?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, this is Brajradhe.
Brajradhe, Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, wow. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Your mother is attaining higher and higher levels of ecstasy. I don't know how we can bring her down.
I can imagine.
She is really in a state of ecstasy. I mean, she's so absorbed in every part. And the community is nice, it's nice, she learned, she didn't really know the people. Now she's, she's friends with everyone, and it's great. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, Haribo, good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is Sudama.
Sudama.
Hare Krishna. So nice to see you.
You must be in great separation from Govardhana, huh?
Yes, Maharaj, yes.
I think the retreat center is almost finished there.
Yeah, they showed some videos of it. Yes.
Yeah, so I think next year, somehow or other, unless they come up with another crazy disease, the COVID is wearing its welcome. It's not so much here. I mean, it's definitely not so much. People are just, out and about. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for taking us along with you.
Haribo.
Haribol.
Sadhu.
Great separation.
Do you know Vikram? Because you sent him some chocolate. Does he know you?
No, that was for Raghunath.
What?
That was for Raghunath.
Who did you give it through?
To Jack.
What?
I gave it to Jack.
Let me check on it.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody
Very
else? Okay. If anyone wants to stay with me, it's going to go off and then we'll put you on and let's see. You can enjoy some kirtan. Oh. Radha. Jaya Radha. Oh, Jaya Radha. Go inside. Go inside. Okay. Don't they have a Wi-Fi in the next room?
It doesn't work like this does. You are like elevated here.
Well,
But
maybe,
it's okay.
maybe mine will still work when we get to that house. Let's see. It's possible, right? Radha.